Welcome back. Today, we're jumping right into an absolutely epic explainer, heading straight back to ancient Egypt. We're digging right into Genesis chapter 43, and let me tell you, this isn't some dusty, boring history lesson. No way. This is an edge-of-your-seat, high-stakes adventure packed with danger, mystery, and some mind-blowing surprises. So buckle up, because we're diving right in.
Now, I want you to imagine being faced with a truly terrifying choice. Have you ever had to do something that just completely scared you, all because you needed to help the people you love? Well, our heroes today are facing a literal life-or-death situation where the stakes couldn't possibly be higher. Here's the massive problem they're up against. On one hand, their home in Canaan is just choking under a brutal, dusty, dried-up famine. Literally all the food is gone. But on the other hand, there's the lush, golden, food-filled land of Egypt. Their father, Israel, tells them, "Go back, buy us a little more food." Sounds easy enough, right? Well, going back to Egypt is literally the absolute last thing these brothers want to do. And here's why. When their father tells them to go back, Judah has to remind him of a gigantic roadblock, the incredibly strict Egyptian ruler, who, remember, they still have zero clue is actually their long-lost brother Joseph, gave them a terrifying warning. He said, "You will not see my face unless your brother is with you." He meant their absolute youngest brother, Benjamin. And Judah lays it on the line. If Benjamin doesn't go, they don't go, period.
Well, Israel is just burning with frustration. He cries out, "Why did you bring such trouble my way by telling the man you had another brother?" But, the sons defend themselves. They explain that the man just kept interrogating them. He literally asked, "Is your father still alive? And do you have another brother?" They were just answering his direct questions. How on earth could they have known he'd demand to actually see the boy?
And this brings us to our very first huge moral lesson of the day: sacrificial responsibility. This means being willing to take the hit to protect someone else. Judah bravely steps right up to his father and makes the ultimate promise. He says, "I myself will guarantee his safety. You can hold me responsible." He's taking on a massive personal risk to protect his little brother, showing some incredible selflessness and growth here. Seeing literally no other choice, because let's face it, they'll all starve if they do nothing, Israel finally gives in. He lays out this bold 3-step survival plan. Step 1, take the land's absolute best gifts. Step 2, take double the money. And step 3, definitely the hardest part, take Benjamin. He sends them off, praying that God Almighty will give them some much-needed favor in the scary ruler's sight. Just imagine the amazing, colorful gifts they packed for this journey. They gather the absolute best products their land has to offer: special healing medicine, sweet honey, rare spices, pistachio nuts, and almonds. This isn't just a quick grocery run, guys. This is a carefully calculated mission to show respect, make peace, and honestly, just survive the trip. So they arrive in Egypt and boom, there is a massive misunderstanding. Joseph looks out, sees his little brother Benjamin, and immediately orders a grand noon feast to celebrate. But the terrified brothers, they're expecting the absolute worst. When they're brought into Joseph's house, they are 100% convinced they're being dragged inside just to be thrown in a dungeon and have their donkeys stolen. But why are they so incredibly terrified? Well, it all goes back to a huge mystery. On their very first trip to Egypt, when they opened their bags on the way home, they found all their money returned to them in full. They have no idea who put it there. So now they're completely convinced this grand dinner invitation is actually a brutal trap to punish them for that secret silver. Think about this for a second. What would you do if you found a bunch of money that definitely wasn't yours? It's a real test of character, isn't it? The brothers are sitting there with double the cash, staring at the intimidating doors of an Egyptian palace. They have to make a super tough choice about how to handle a mistake that wasn't even their fault to begin with. And that leads right to our second big moral lesson: honesty and restitution. Restitution is all about making things right. The brothers pulled household manager aside right at the door and confess everything. They're like, "Look, we found this money. We have zero idea how it got there, but we brought it all back. Plus, new money." They show us that true honesty requires fixing mistakes, even when you're absolutely terrified of the consequences. Which perfectly sets up our third massive lesson: grace. Instead of yelling or calling the guards, the steward just smiles and says, "Stop worrying, don't be afraid. Your God and the God of your father put treasure in your packs." And just to prove they're actually safe, he brings their imprisoned brother Simeon right out to them. They were bracing for the worst punishment, but instead, they receive absolute peace.
And the surprises? They just keep coming. Instead of chains and dark dungeons, they are treated like absolute VIPs. The steward brings them inside, gives them cool, refreshing water to wash their dusty feet, and even makes sure their donkeys are fully fed. I mean, they are getting the full royal treatment in the home of the single most powerful man in Egypt.
When noon finally rolls around, the tension is just through the roof. Joseph enters the room. The brothers instantly unpack that epic gift basket, the honey, the nuts we talked about, and they bow completely flat on the ground before him. It's such a wild moment because they're bowing in deep, deep respect, completely unaware that this terrifying ruler is actually their own long-lost brother.
Joseph really tries to play it cool, but you can almost feel the emotion bubbling up inside him. He asks them how they're doing, and then gently asks, "Is your father well, the old man of whom you spoke? Is he still alive?" The brothers bow in respect once again, answering, "Your servant, our father, is well. Yes, he is still alive." But then, Joseph looks up. He spots Benjamin, his absolute youngest brother, his own mother's son. He asks, "Is this your youngest brother? May God be gracious to you, my son." And suddenly, the feelings are just way too much. His heart is so incredibly full of love that he literally has to run out of the room, hurry into his own bedroom, and just weep tears of pure joy.
After washing his face to hide all those tears, Joseph comes back out and orders the meal to be served. But here's a totally fascinating cultural rule they had to follow back then. Joseph is served by himself, the Hebrew brothers sit by themselves, and the Egyptians sit by themselves. Why? Because historically, Egyptians thought eating a meal with Hebrews was completely forbidden and, honestly, kind of gross. But then something happens that makes the brothers' jaws practically hit the floor. They're directed to their seats facing Joseph, and they realize they're seated in perfect, exact order, from the oldest firstborn brother all the way down to the absolute youngest. They're just staring at each other in total shock. How in the world could this Egyptian stranger possibly know their exact ages?
Now for a super fun surprise. I want you to picture a massive, glowing number 5. Keep the number 5 locked in your head because Joseph is about to do something at this dinner that breaks all the rules.
When the food is finally served, everyone gets a totally normal plate right in front of them. But then, look at Benjamin's portion. His plate is 5 whole times larger than any of his older brothers. It's this hilarious, massive mountain of food, which is Joseph's secret way of showing just how much he deeply loves his little brother.
So what started out as this terrifying journey, filled with the dread of dungeons and harsh punishment, ends up bursting with completely unexpected joy. The brothers finally relax, eat, and actually enjoy themselves. This vividly shows us exactly how the grace of God works. It takes our deepest, darkest fears and completely replaces them with beautiful, undeserved kindness that softens our hearts. As we wrap up this amazing explainer, let's quickly review our 3 massive takeaways that turn this whole scary adventure into a story of incredible growth. Number 1, honesty and restitution. Just like returning that silver, true honesty means we make our mistakes right. Number 2, sacrificial responsibility. Like Judah, we've got to be willing to bravely take the hit to protect others. And number 3, grace and reconciliation. God's grace gives us undeserved kindness when we least expect it.
I'm going to leave you with one exciting question to think about today. The brothers expected fierce punishment, but they received a massive feast of grace instead. So how can you show that same totally unexpected grace to someone today? How can you surprise someone with kindness when they least expect it? Think about that, and I'll catch you in the next explainer.